Oh, why does it want to do it that way? That shouldn't do it. No game. Let's do that. Let's raise this up. Hey. Hey, Daniel Autry. Grit. Let's get in here. Come on. Grit. 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 Okay. Jesus. Cats. How you doing, Daniel? It's good to see you again, buddy. Back it up. That's where you live, right there. In today's episode, we're going to make textures from scratch. And I'm going to show you how to do a few different cool, fun things. I hope, anyway. I'm going to find a cool source image here. If I can find one that I like, that inspires me. I really don't need any, but... Actually, I can move this over. No, I keep this here. Let's do this. There we go. Hey, Stone Spire. How you doing, buddy? Let me do this. Yeah. Got the Grit with us tonight. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. Grit, that's not a milkshake. That's a smoothie. Sorry, buddy. You stay in that side. I don't need you walking on the keyboard again. So, what is this about making textures from scratch? So, as you've seen me make textures, I'm doing it from, I'm doing it from 3D scanned renders, which have everything already done for you. So what we're going to do is take a source image of something. And I was looking for like a stone wall or something is what I want. But I can't seem to find one that I like here. Yeah, that's a lot of hours to be working outside and stuff. That's not any fun for anyone. No, Grit. Here, you want me to open it for you? Look at this. See what that is? That's fruit. You don't like fruit. It's not beer. See? Try it. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. Told you. Well, I had many hours of work this week myself in an air-conditioned office. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal, and I don't know if I can do it again. Just absolutely torture. I'm going to use this one. I wish it was 2K. It's not. Let me go with sizes here. Large. Man, I'm going to tell you what. It has been both rainy and hot here. And just not in a good way. Just like, it's been ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. Cool. I got one texture. This is going to be good. Let me get my Photoshop open. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this open too. There we go. Cool. All right, so let's get switched over. Is this the correct one? I don't know. Let's do this. Yay! Why is it? See, it's so. Look. That's correct. This is not correct. I need double click it. Okay. It's saying that my right monitor is like the main monitor, and it's not. So where is my settings for this? It's not showing me. Well, let me show properties. So let me do another one here. We're going to do display capture. Game capture. Okay. Yes and yes. There we go. Now if I turn it off. Interesting. Hold on. I want this to be that big. Okay. Put it down here. Is that correct? Who knows? No? Yes. Okay. Now this. Where are you at? This? No. This? No. This? This one. Okay. I need this block that's like right here to be fixed. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say display capture. Again, call this game capture small. Oops. This here. Oops. I'm going to put it like right here. Something like that. Yes. And this can be turned off. Cool. So that's working. And then there's my game scene. But my game scene... Okay. There's this. And then I need to turn off... What do I need to turn off? This guy. Cool. Okay. So we're good now. Jesus. I want a cutting board. I like cutting boards. I need a good cutting board. Personally. So, let's get into this. Here we go. And start. So, first of all textures need to be square. 1 to 1. This is obviously not square. It's a rectangle. So, we're going to just do a new one here. And I'm going to just do this as a 1K texture because this is not a 2K image. Actually it is. I forgot. So we're going to do 2048 by 2048 here. There we go. And I'm just going to Control C and Control V this in here, and then I'm going to rescale it real quick. And it doesn't need to be exact. In fact, I want to take this bottom row out. So I'm going to just do it about like that. And I want this top row gone too. So I'm going to do something about like this right here. Okay? So this is what we're looking at. And I'm going to select all with Control A, Control C, Control Shift V. And that just took our selection. And now we have a perfect square, as you can see. None of those other parts are there anymore. So now, as it sits, we have our next issue, which is the step and repeat. So if I duplicate it and put it side by side, you can see there's this seam here down the middle. And if I pull this down and then duplicate those two and put them above, we'll now have a line going horizontally. This is not good stepping and repeating, okay? So how do we get it to seamlessly tile? First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to use a filter here and under Other and set to Offset. Now, we take our texture size, which was 2048 by 2048, and do half of that, 1024 by 1024. And here it is. Here's our seams. Now, all of these things I'm going to show you should work in GIMP. It should work in Affinity. It should work in, it obviously will work in Photoshop. It should work in Paint.net. These are pretty much industry standard techniques and should work everywhere. Next, we're going to get our clone brush. Okay? And I have a soft clone brush. And what we're going to do is target an area and click and then paint it somewhere else, as you can see. So I can take this square stone and paint it over here. It's just copying and pasting from one and putting it somewhere else with a brush. So since this is a geometric shape, this is a little bit harder, and what you want to do is find stones that kind of look like what you're matching over here, okay? And you don't need to go too far off of the seams, but you want to definitely cover up the seams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something like this right here and just click on this stone and just put it right here and come out. And that's that. Next, what we can do is we can take, if we wanted to have a bit more of a hard line here, I can click a space and just kind of paint in something like that. And then again, come down here and get this guy. And that, I think, would do it for that area. Like, I'm kind of okay with that. So as you can see, it doesn't look like there's a seam there now. Now we have to do this all the way up and down and all the way across. It's not too hard. You just kind of have to be mindful of what you're doing. And it's usually easy to just punch in one stone and then fix the rest of it, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. And you might want to change up your brush size and stuff. That helps a lot too. But only if you want to. You don't have to. Looking some more, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find something here that I can just kind of paint in here to kind of put a divider here between these stones. You want to take this and just kind of pop this right in here. I want to have a bit of a divider between those stones. Same here. Have a bit of divide. Okay, so that will be fine here for that guy. Well, this is what aged yellow pine and white oak interest. Walnut, aged yellow pine and white oak. Ooh, that does sound pretty good. Does sound pretty good. How do you finish them? And how big is it? You have my attention. I'm not going to do that. Let's do this one. That's fine. Like that. That looks pretty good and separated. We need to do that over here now. Like that. Perfect. Now we just need to work this bottom line and we're done. Cool. That works for me there. I just want a little bit of some gap right here. Like that. Can I get actually a little bit more? Like that. That works. Just like that. Cool. So now our texture is done. I do have a little spot right here that I need to work out. And so when we do this filter offset, you're going to see it in the middle somewhere. I don't see it. So screw it. All right. The texture is now stepping and repeating perfectly, okay? Stepping and repeating, no seams. We're done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as, and I'm going to do PNG. I think I can do PNG to here, and I'm just going to call this stone wall and hit OK. So that's our diffuse texture. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to open up a program called Materialize. And Materialize creates a bunch of different textures for you based on a source image. And there's a lot of programs that do this to various degrees of success. This is the best free one that I found. So if you like free, this is for you. Go into desktop and we're going to open up our stone wall here. Here it is. And the first thing we're going to do is create a height map. Now, I got to explain a couple things to you here. When you create a height map, it's looking at the light values, light to dark. Okay, so if we go into here and I put on a color mask, right? It's going to say all of the dark spots are low and all of the high spots are white. But when we're looking at stone, stone has white in it, like in its veins and stuff like that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that part is higher than something else. It's just the colorization of the stone. So this is not necessarily a perfect, this is not going to be as accurate as a PBR scanned render, but it gets close. But what we do is by generating the height map first, okay, what we're going to do is get rid of the detail of the stone and keep the shapes of the stone. This is what we're looking for here, okay? So if we do something like displace, we're getting close to what we actually kind of want here. All right. So let's do, I want to kind of normalize this. I'm not looking for anything like super high or super low. All right, this looks about right to me. Okay. So now I'm going to set that as the height map. And we can kind of see all of it here with this slider at the top. Now that that's created, we're going to create a normal map off of this. So just by hitting the create normal button, we now have a normal map of what we've been looking for. And we can choose something like smooth, default, crisp. I'm going to choose this crisp version. And I'm going to hit set. And then we just hit save. And we can double click on this. And then it has now saved our normal out. The next thing that we want to do in here is create an AO map. You don't have to, but you can if you want. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit set and save. And I'm going to call this AO. Select. And now back in here, we're going to open up that AO map and copy it and paste it in here. Now something, actually not this one, this one. Now something about this, the reason I do it, there's already AO baked into it because it's a photograph. So there's already little shadows between the cracks. But if you also add this one, what we're accomplishing is we're mimicking the shadows that the normal map is doing. Since the normal map is an approximation, we're also going to do the approximation of the AO too. So if I set this to multiply, you can kind of see it just adds a few extra shadows to it. Something else that you can do is I'll just duplicate this. We can take this and we can do another filter here. And I'm going to see if I can find it. And what we're looking for is, actually, it might be under image adjustments. It is image adjustment and equalize. No, it's not equalize. Image adjustments. I thought it was equalized, but it's not. It might be shadows and highlights here. So here we can kind of remove shadows. And what we're looking for is just to tighten. Is basically we're looking to remove the shadows. Okay. And the highlights, there's really not any highlights in here, so I'm not too worried about that. And if we hit OK and then put this on, now we're kind of adding our shadows back in with the AO. So that's another option that you can have. Okay? Completely up to you if that's what you want to do. To me, I just like the base by itself. So now we have our normal and our diffuse texture with the AO baked in because it's a photograph. And that's all done. You know, Daniel, if you were on our Discord, you could post a picture there. Mallets as well as wooden swords and knives. That sounds fun. I like that. So let's say we wanted to take this a step further. Okay, we're going to do that right now. I am going to take this top trim piece here. I'm going to paste it right in here. All right, so now we have this own little layer by itself. And it's a pretty cool layer. I'm going to actually take a little bit different of a section of it. We're going to go right to this edge right here. Nah. Yeah, this is fine. All right. So we have this, and we're going to transform, rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And I am going to remove this top guy. Okay. And I'm going to remove this last one here. All right. Now we have this. We can transform it. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to duplicate that again, put it over here. duplicate it again and rotate it this way. And I'm going to take off this extra block here on the right. I'm going to put it right here. And put this guy right over here. And then this is going to go right up here. Oops, forgot to duplicate. And him, I am going to transform and flip horizontal. Just so it doesn't look... so they're not... They don't look like it's just been copy and pasted, okay? So this is done, and you go, well, that doesn't really look that good. And it doesn't look that good. But with filters, we can actually make it look really, really good. And I'm just going to be adjusting one of these, and then I'm going to apply it to all of them. So we're just going to take this bottom right here, and I'll go ahead and zoom in on it real quick so we can see all of the changes that we're doing. So first thing that I like to do, and what we're doing is making a window frame. First thing that we're going to do is I'm going to do an inner shadow. Actually, let's do cancel, Control D. All right. So we're going to do an inner shadow. This is where I like to start with these things. And we'll do our multiply all the way up so we can actually see what's going on here. So this is an inner shadow. Right? And you can set these to overlay or whatever you want. Overlay actually retains some of the color, but it doesn't do exactly what I'm looking for. So multiply is what I'm going to use, but I like to check overlay to see what it looks like. And I'm just going to back that size off a good bit. To pull our choke back. Here we go. I'll bring up the choke as far as I need it. Next up, I'm going to do a drop shadow. And this is a drop shadow. It just basically drops a shadow. And distance, I don't need any distance. Again, pull back our choke like this, and then I'll pull back this. So you might go, that's not enough shadow, but a little goes a long way. It's true, trust me. Another thing that you can do instead of doing the inner shadow is you can use the bevel and emboss. Okay? And we'll do an inner bevel and emboss. And I'm going to set up everything here. I'm going to put our shadows as multiply and our whites as overlay. Okay? And then here, I might even, let's do -90. We can set like where the sun is shining from, etc. Okay. And if we back out, you can kind of see how it's looking here. And I can right click that layer, hit copy layer style, and then paste it to the other ones. Okay. And now you can see the drop shadow is actually pretty heavy. So we're going to come into here and do our drop shadow and cut that back to about 40%. Hit OK, copy the layer style, and then paste it all again. Another thing that we can do is I'm going to put this into a folder and turn it off. Put it into another folder, select all of, duplicate the folder and clear all of our layer styles. Right click this new folder, convert to smart object and rasterize. So now all of this is as one. It's just one image now. And you can apply this to the whole frame set if you want to. Okay, so here's our drop shadow to the whole thing. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I'll do this bevel and emboss. And I'm going to make it pretty big. Bigger anyway. I'm going to soften it. Yeah, that's good. Then my overlay is it's a bit much. So there we go. So that is another way of doing it. I'm going to copy this layer style, and I'm going to delete this because one thing that I want to do, let me duplicate this folder. One thing that I would like to do is keep the lighting the same. This guy here, I would like to, let's clear all of our layer styles on this. Clear layer styles, thank you. This guy, I'm going to flip horizontally. There we go. So now the light is kind of shining properly there. How do I want to take this? I want to actually do this. Paste these layer styles to this guy. What is happening here? There we go. And paste layer style here. And then I want these two behind like that. Now I can paste the layer styles of these and call that a day. Right? Now next up, I'm going to add a layer. And this is going to be behind the frame. And I'm just going to paint that black. And then just kind of do something like this, right? Very simple. Another thing you can do, I'm going to try and capture this open area real quick here. Actually, no, this is fine. This is actually fine. So we're now going to add a mask to the folder. And we're going to paint some of this stuff out, right? Like these edges and corners and stuff. Because there's some shadows on them that are kind of baked into the image, and I don't want that. And there's some hard edges that I also don't want. So I'm just kind of taking it off. And now's the time where you can kind of get a little creative and chip away at things if you feel so inclined. But as you can see, we're getting rid of these shadows in here. And since you're doing it by hand, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to mess up, which adds just a little bit more to that, you know, natural kind of organic look to it. There we go. So now here, oh, I got to do it at the top too. I want to get this out of here. There we go. Cool. So now we can get rid of this. I'm going to clear the layer style. I want to keep all of these. So I'm going to turn that off, duplicate, and then turn it back, this duplicate on, and convert to smart object and rasterize. And now I'm going to add our drop shadows and stuff again. So as you can see here at EOS, here's our drop shadow. We can reduce the size. I might actually go big, because I want it to make it look like it's poking out a good bit here. And then here's our bevel, which again, we can do sizes. We can boost these things a good bit. Sharpen it up. I like to go extreme so I can actually see what's happening and then pull things back and then pull them up as I need them. About like that. All right, there's that. I think the drop shadow is still a little much. Cool. So there that is. Let's see what you did. Press F in chat. Oh, no. Where are you at? I don't see anything in the Discord. There's nothing in the... Oh, wait. Oh, Moog Butt. It's loading. There it is. That's pretty. I'm guessing it's still being worked on, because that seems like it would be really uncomfortable to chop on. Oh yeah, Daniel, we have a special emoji just for you, buddy. We made this a long time ago. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and put your little emoji right here on your post. There you go. There you go. Welcome, Daniel. Now we just need to get Sushido in there, and we're set. To here he is. All right. Another thing that I like to do. I'm gonna turn that off for a second. Come in here. And I work with things a lot, and so I will often redo things multiple times. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a mask again, but with my mask brush, I'm going to make it a lot harder, I think, because I'm not happy with how smooth that looked. And we're just going to go around here and just do this. Nice. I don't like blurry lines. I like things to be sharper. But not look like it was done with a mouse, right? Here we go. And this is how I did like all of my doors, windows, is doing stuff like this. But this is how I did all of that stuff. All right, now that that has been redone, I'm actually going to do it on the inside too, I think. Let me turn this off. I think I'm going to do it on the inside too, but I'm going to try a different brush. I'm going to try a grungy brush. Yeah. So let's delete this layer mask and do that one more time. Here we go. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. And this should chunk up the edges a little bit here. The other one was looking too much like I did it with a mouse. And I'm not looking for that. Getting a nice collection of brushes is almost paramount to doing work like this. And there's a lot of free brushes that you can find. Okay. And then on the inside, I'm just going to do the same thing here. Kind of get rid of these hard lines. Just chunk it up a hair. Oops. Messed that up. There we go. Let's get this one. Nice. All right. And now in here, we can do our droppy shadow. And I'm going to look at that inner shadow again here. Then our bevel and emboss. I might turn that off. It's about like that. And then I might do an inner glow. Yeah, with white. Set to overlay. Opacity. Size. And then just pull it way back. Just like that. All right. So there that is. And I could take that. Let's do something like this. Take this. Shift F5. Ah, it's the mask. Let's do. Make this bigger. Come on. Pull it out. There we go. No. Yes. Perfect. That's how much we love you, Daniel, is that you have your own emoji and you weren't even a part of the Discord yet you still had your own emoji. That's how much we love you. If you've ever wondered. If you've ever wondered. Wonder no more. Now, I'm going to do this. We're gonna step this up. We're gonna step this up. We're gonna take a cool texture I found, which is this guy. And we're going to just take a strip. Actually, I'm gonna take, yeah, let's take a lot of this. Let's do this guy. Copy and paste. Oh, let's see. Maybe I need a bigger version. I think I have it. I just need to open it up in Photoshop itself. So actually, I'm going to take this one. Open with Photoshop. There we go. It's a bit desatchy. Open with this. Cool. So I'm going to take this right here and copy. Come right into here. Oh, no, it's about the same size. Here we go. And now I'm just going to chop this up. And just get me a couple selections out of it. Okay. Put it about right here and here. And I think let's take this, duplicate that folder and turn that off. I'm going to convert this. Let's turn off all of our effects. Let's clear our effects. And let's convert and rasterize. Cool. And I'm going to chop out this interior section real quick, because I'm still not happy with it. There we go. Just delete. Cool. And now I want a little bit more off of here. There we go. So I'm going to get my metal strips and just put them right up against the edge. Like this. Nice. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. No, I'm going to duplicate both of them. And rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And we're going to put this here. I'm going to put this bottom one here. Like that. All right. And let's get this guy. And now I'm going to chop out these. Then the bottom of this one. And I'm going to chop out the bottom of the vertical ones. Cool. So there that is. And I am going to now do the inner shadow. Let's try this. Like that. And I'm going to do a inner glow. Like that. Cool. And I'm going to copy the layer style and put it over here. And we're going to paste that. So now the top and bottom have that, but the vertical ones are going to be a little bit different. They're going to have a drop shadow on them. Make it very small. Or we could do an inner shadow to make it look like it's beveled inside the window. Right? But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a drop shadow on this. And I am going to angle it 180 degrees, and it's going to the right. Because I don't want it over the windowsill, really. I want it over the little arms. That's what I would like. And then I'm going to do the inner glow. Kind of gives it this cool little beveled look. Now, if I do an inner shadow with it, that could still work. Let's do that. I like the way that looks. Copy layer style. Paste layer style on the other one. Paste layer style here. Cool. So I'm going to use this, but for this guy, I need the shadow going the other way. So I'm going to just put 0 like that. Cool. Should I make it a little bit more visible here? No. I need to just put these above the horizontal ones. There we go. That's what I was looking for. This needs to come back to about here. Let's do that. I'm going to copy this layer style and paste it on the other one. And then I'm going to put the angle back to 180. There we go. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to convert that into there. And in here, now let's look up this guy. And I'm going to delete any of the shadows that might have come into there. And I'm going to put a drop shadow on this. There we go. Wait, what's going on? This one. There we go. Let me get rid of these because they're confusing me. Here's this. So we're going to put the drop shadow down. And why it's not doing it inside is confusing and baffling me. Why aren't you wanting to do an interior drop shadow? Ah. That's why. So I'm just going to hit OK just so I can see what's going on. Let's put this under. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I'm going to try and just blur this as much as possible. And let's do an inner glow on this guy. I might be able to do a bevel. Let's do just hard. Smooth. I don't like the edges of this thing at all. It does not bring me joy when I look at it. It does not bring me joy. Delete layer mask. Didn't bring me joy. Let's do one more. This time I'm going to take out a few of these. I'm just going to take out the parts that I don't want, that I know for sure, that I thought would be cool to have, but they're just not cool to have. There. Much better. Cool. So now it kind of looks like this metal is inset inside, which is what I'm looking for. Okay. And then the next thing and the last thing, I'm going to see if I have it. I'm not sure if I have one. I might have to go and look for one. Yeah, let's find one real quick here. Trying to find a big enough image. This should be good enough. It's not my favorite thing, but I'll see here. Let's do this. Let's see if this will give me any better results real quick. And I'll explain why it's taking me so long after a little bit here. I don't want any like background light, right? Like gradient of light or colors is basically what I'm looking for. I don't want any of that. But I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. So I think I'll just use the one that I just downloaded. Yeah, just to save time. Here we go. I don't want bridge. Go away. I want this. Thank you. So I'm going to copy this and just throw it into here. And I'm going to put it behind everything. Like that. And just make it a bit bigger. I'm just going to scale this because, again, time. All right. So now you have this, and I'm going to work some levels on it just to get it to kind of sit a little bit better. Just kind of take out the shadows, and then I'm going to darken it. Reduce the contrast. Let's do a color hue saturation. Colorize. We'll choose like a blue, bluish green. Something like that. All right, and now I'm going to work some effects on it and do an inner shadow, like you do. I'm going to do a pretty big one here. And I'm going to do an inner glow, but I'm going to do it from center. So you can kind of see what this looks like here. Okay. Just to kind of give it that kind of like a dirt ring around it, basically. And then I'm going to do one more thing here. Pick up something, I think, like this. So I'm going to open image, a new tab, save image as, boom, cool. And then we're going to get a dirt texture, which is right here, and pop that on top of it. I'll rescale it. Yeah, that's actually perfect. No, it's not. It needs to be a little bit bigger. And we're going to set this to overlay. Or you can set to multiply. It doesn't matter. And it just kind of dirties it up, right? As you can see. Either way, I'm going to add a mask. And I'm just going to paint out this center bit here. I'm going to kind of follow our shadows. If you want, let's use our rough brush here. That's a little too bold. I want something that's not... I don't need a blender. Let's do this, right? And let's... Oh, I can't do a hardening on it. Here we go. Let's just do this real quick here. Alright. Back it up. Got away from me. Oops. There we go. Kind of tighten these up a little bit. Alright. Now we can pull our opacity back on it. Cool. Alright, so there is a cool window. Right? So now we have to work out how would we do a normal for this. Check this out. We're going to do this. We're going to create a new layer, and I'm going to get a light gray. So I'm up here around the 200 RGB area. And I am just going to, I'm going to select, not that. I want just my frame. Here it is. So I'm going to select this real quick. And I'm just going to pop these lines here real quick. Not getting too cray-cray with being uber accurate. Deselect. Here we go. And on my new layer, I'm just going to hit Shift F5. Now I'm going to choose a darker layer. Darker one, like around 170. And in here, I'm going to select my frame. Right here. I'm going to hit Shift F5. And then once more, I'm going to get something that's just slightly darker. Turn this off. And I'm going to select just the glass. Right here. Okay. And do this right there. Now, I would like to get my selector tool. I'm going to get just my glass, copy, come into here and paste that, and I'm going to desaturate it. I'm going to keep it just like this because actually I might make it darker. What I'm wanting to do is I'm going to use the patterns of the glass to show up in the normal map too. And then the last one that I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit darker and go behind all of it, just like that. And we're going to rasterize this. Okay. Now if we set this to overlay, no, let's get a color desaturator in here. Make a black layer and just set it to color, and it makes everything black and white. Okay. Now, if I do this and I set to overlay, I was trying to find, you know what? We're going to do two normals. Screw it. So let's go ahead and do a save as. We'll do the PNG again. I'm going to say stone wall window for this guy and export that. Yay. And then this, I'm going to export. And in here, let's actually do this, select inverse, and I'm going to exclude all of that stuff there real quick. Alright, screw it. Let's just do it by hand. There we go. And now I'm just going to save this as stone wall window height. All right, JPEG. I'm going to just JPEG that. It doesn't need to be high quality. All right, let's go to materialize. And we're going to open up our stone wall window, which is right here. And now all of our settings were saved from the previous, so I'm just going to do that. And we'll just set that as height map and then create our normal map, and there we go. And we're going to save that. And there we go. So, stone wall window. Bam. And then the next one I'm going to do is the height, which is this guy. Create, set as height, create, set that as the normal, and save. And I'm just going to do this as height. Save. All right. So in here, there's our diffuse. I'm going to just close all of these that I don't need. So the diffuse is done. Let's talk about doing the normal map. So let's open this up, and I have two normal maps here. And I'm going to flip the green channel on these because they come already pre-flipped, which is an awesome thing. So here is our window, but it doesn't look like the window is coming out from the wall. So I'm going to take this real quick and pop that in here and set it to overlay. And it just kind of pushes the window forward, right? Which is what we want. And now we can combine these and rasterize. All right, so now let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And here I'm going to save this as stone wall window JPEG. Okay, save. Let's do save as. Let's do stone wall window.dds. Right here, and we just need a color. And then I can get rid of this. And I can get rid of this. I can get rid of that. And I'm going to put this in a folder called window. So we turn the window on and off. And now this is just stone wall. Done. Now if I take this and do a new, and I open this guy. So there's our normal map for the stone wall. And there is our, well, let's see, is that correct? Copy that. Yep, that's correct. Here it is as the alpha. Just turn that brightness down, turn our contrast up a wee bit. Something about like that. There's that, file new. And I can turn my window back on. I'll just do a quick layer flatten image. And do file open, get my window normal, which is right here. I'll just drag that over. And we flip the green channel, and we can add an alpha. Well, let's get rid of that now. What was in here? And what's this? That's correct. And what is this? That is correct. Well, I got two of them. Do I really? No, I don't need that. Okay. So in here, There that is. Image adjustment, brightness, contrast. Here we go. So there's our window normal, there's our wall normal, there's our window texture, and there's our wall texture. So 2 textures done, and just building it out of stock images and rendering out the normal maps from Materialize. Super duper easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's see what this would look like in game. I'm interested. And maybe you're interested too. Or not. It doesn't matter. You're going to see it. So let's find a good Whiterun texture that we can exploit and get rid of. Well, for this test. We can get rid of for this test. A little bit difficult here. I know there's a plaster one. So I have this guy. Do I have another plaster? Oh yeah, that's the interior plaster. Which I'm not going to do. Let's do this exterior plaster. Should I? Yes. All right, so WR Wood Plaster 01. So I'm going to just do a quick save as and just copy the name real quick. We'll come into here. I'm going to turn this off. We're going to do a file save as in textures, architecture. Oh, it's going to say no because you already have it open. File save as, textures, architecture, Whiterun. Yes, yes, and yes. And then in here, we're going to do the same thing. File save as textures, architecture, Whiterun. And this time I'm going to do this, but with an underscore N. Yep. No. Save as. I don't want to save it as a BMP. Underscore N. Dot DDS. Yep, yep. Color alpha fine and linear. Nice. So let's check that out in game. And we're going to see what textures look like. What textures that have that are just made from pictures look like in game, okay? So let's start Steam up. Let's see what people are talking about over here. What's this texture for? It looks up. This is me showing you how to make textures from pictures. Somebody might have already answered this. Brandy doesn't have an emote. Hey, Motto, he's working on window frames. What more could a Dan want? It's completely maddening. I bet it is. Or I am a moron, which is also possible. Doubt it. But that is extremely calming. Pretty sure it's just Fallout 4. It's even more. Fallout 4 is crazy to mod. I'm not going to lie. That's at least what I hear. Hey, Joan. So I figured, what textures is he making now? There you go, learn, listen to Sky King. I'm editing video while watching, listening. He's working on window frames. I don't know what buildings. Oh, I'm always excited to see his new textures. First of a few glue ups done. Okay. So, this is our tutorial texture now in game. I've just had a shit ton of people talking about how to make textures and how do I make normal maps and how, so, and then once we look at it in game, I'm going to show you what not to do. It'll be very quick. I'm going to explain and show you picture examples that I have ready of what not to do. Okay. Come on. There we go. So, we were inspecting the volcanic textures last time, which still look really good. Okay. So we're going to do COC Whiterun Bannered Mare. Happy Friday, Ringo. Hello. So outside, so this is PBR textures. So outside we should see new stone textures for the plaster, complete with normal maps. And they should look halfway decent. They're not going to look as good, but they're going to look halfway. They're going to look halfway decent. As soon as this wants to load up. Here we go. Let's see, where's plaster? Not seeing any plaster. Oh, there's some. So here's our new stone texture. Like I said, it just looks like pictures, but I mean, it just looks like a picture made into a texture with a normal map is what it looks like. Is it awesome? Not really. But it can be done. And from 5 feet away, it looks perfectly fine. I think I wouldn't use it in this place. You know, I wouldn't use it there, per se. But it's perfectly fine. But that's our new texture. And again, this is how I did the doors, because I'm not going to remesh and retexture the doors, but that's basically what it ends up looking like. Yep. So it can be done. The key things to do and remember. Okay. There are some key things. One, I'm going to go ahead and quick save this real quick here. First and foremost, your So here's the key takeaway points to this. One, your source images have to be as big or bigger than what your final texture resolution is going to be. So if you're going to make 2K textures, your source images need to be at least that. So for us, this was our source image right here. And it is 3264 by 2400. So it's larger than our 2K texture. All right. So that's step one. Step two. When looking for images, something like this is not going to work. And this is the reason why. This has direct sunlight in it, so it's casting shadows. And it looks like sun is lighting it. That's because that's literally what's happening here. So when you put this in your game and it's raining, this rock is going to look sunny, and it's going to be casting shadow because the shadows are baked into the image. It's going to be casting shadows on itself, and it looks all sunny. So when you look at our texture, this picture was taken on a cloudy day. It only has ambient occlusion in it. There's no direct shading happening here. So keep that in mind. When you do this, you want your texture to have no hard shadows and no hard lighting. So those are the two big rules. Okay? Is as big or bigger than your final texture resolution, no hard shadows, no hard lighting. You don't want it to be wet. You don't want it, okay? None of that. Let the engine take care of that stuff. You want this to be as flat as possible. All right? So we showed you how to get rid of seams to make it a seamless texture, how to properly generate a normal map, how to compile two normal maps together, and how to add other shapes, such as making a window on it. So that's pretty cut and dry standard. That's pretty easy. So what's the difference between doing this kind of old school way of doing something and photogrammetry? This is a good question. So when you look up, I think pictures will help. So we've had this kind of stuff for a long time, where just pictures, I mean, there's like cameras surrounding someone. But what's happening kind of now is you take a bunch of pictures with your cell phone or a camera at various height angles. So you could do it from very high, slightly high, directly on, slightly below, very much below. And you want about every 10 degrees, take a picture. Okay? And you want all the pictures to be relatively the same distance away from the object. And what happens is you throw all of those photos into a photogrammetry plugin. And there are many photogrammetry plugins, some free, some cheap, some expensive, with various degrees of success. And it spits out a model, a 3D model, and textures. Now you have to clean it up because it'll also pick up the floor. It might pick up a lamp in the background, all sorts of stuff, right? It's not going to just chop the model out and make it look perfect, and the textures aren't going to look perfect. You have to do a little post-processing work. And of course, it won't step and repeat perfectly either. So some Photoshop prepping is going to be needed, but you will get your textures out of it. And when you get your textures out of it, let's take a gander at bridge. So once you get that taken care of later, you now have digitally scanned textures and a 3D model for free. So let's take a look at this rock. And, oh yeah, sure, I'll sign in. Let me sign in real quick. Let me move this over here so you don't see my sign in here. Work email, and then, oh, wait. I gotta do this one for work email. There we go. Sign in. Do it faster. All right. So this, I want the 3D preview. So here's our 3D preview of this asset. So it was 3D scanned along with the textures. So that moss is not added in a program. That moss is physically, literally in the real world growing on this rock. That is a part of this whole deal. And that texture is specifically for this rock. So the cracks, you have, pine straw and stuff filling in these cracks here. It is specifically made for this rock. So when you get physically scanned assets, it's hard to retexture them because it looks really bad. It doesn't look as good. And unless you were to throw that 3D model into a program like Substance Painter, which can read the model and texture it based on the curvatures of the model. So that would work if you wanted to retexture that way. It might not look as real world as this. But what's nice is that you can end up with other very cool surfaces, such as this. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. So here you're getting that same 3D object with the displacement. So the displacement's what making like these huge divots. But you're also getting it to physically render in lighting correctly. All the way down to the smallest little cracks and nooks and crannies. So it's a much more higher resolution and much more accurate representation of a real world material in a game going this route versus having a program read an image and estimate what the normal map is going to be and what the AO map is going to be, etc. It's just an algorithm, whereas this is quite literally 3D scanning and converting to a digital asset. Much, much, much better quality that's happening here. I mean, much higher quality. And if Skyrim had the ability of using PBR materials, we would have these kinds of textures and results in game. You wouldn't need parallax. It would do this through the texture itself. It's just a lot more heavy because currently Skyrim just needs a diffuse in a normal map and sometimes an alpha, whereas this requires many more textures. It requires the albedo, the AO, the normal, the displacement, the specular, the roughness, and the metalness map if it's a metal texture. If I look for metal, if I just take this out real quick, and we look for surfaces, and I just type in, oh, we got metal right here. So, actually, I want to find marble, because this has some really cool textures with some metal in it. So if you look here, even the reflections are quite accurate. And not just like where it should be reflective, but it's reflecting as brass and marble would reflect. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it, you know, more realistic, I guess you could say. So, oh, switch camera. Well, son of a bitch. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, you don't really need the camera. You don't really need to switch to understand all of that. Yes. Okay, cool. I'm caught up. So that's that. That's basically texturing easily, quickly, in Photoshop and Materialize, you know, by hand. And in some things in Skyrim, you kind of have to do it, like I said, like the doors, unless you want to remodel the doors, you know, like make new meshes and then make a high poly and a low poly and then throw it into Substance Painter and do all of that stuff, which is completely feasible, and it's a perfectly fine solution if that's what you're into. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You can do that. Super easy, super simple. What are we hoping Starfield harkens back to, Daniel? What days? What are we looking for here? I want to get this out real quick. So I'm gonna take you on a ride. Some people were asking about wanting to see some stuff. I'm going to show you some stuff. Ah, yes, 4 days. Oh, let me show you something cool. I remember what I wanted to show you before. I'll get the OBS open. Okay, I remember what I wanted to show you before, and I'm going to show you now. Oh, what's happening here? No, this one. Oh, I got rid of my backy-do. Dang, my cool bars. Okay, well, I got to redo that. Hold on. There we go. Put this here. Yes. All right. So I showed you in a picture of my office desk in the last stream. I can turn. It's okay, Grit. There we go. So we have the cool star thing happening. How's that? That's pretty spiff. Cool star background. That's for our star field. Let's get into game. So some people were asking about how... Hey, Bubba. Yeah. Let's turn off our game audio. I mean, that audio. Here we go. Alt and exit. Here we go. Let's get my chat up so I can see you guys talking. Here we go. Great. So this is ESO. Dark Brotherhood content, not bad time. Relationship builds. Yeah, I like ESO. So I need to find a way shrine. Here we go. So some people were asking about Solitude. Who was asking about Solitude? I can't remember. Was it Evil Panda? This is bad. I'm going to get sucked in. I know it. So a lot of Skyrim, East and West Skyrim, is in this game. The middle part, the Whiterun part, and Riverwood and Falkreath is not. Yet. I think it's coming, but who knows? So we're going to show you what Solitude looks like here. Let's go to the Dragon Bridge Way Shrine. Yeah, that's right. Reference pics. Hey, Bubba. I love you. I love you, Grit. I love my Grit. Cool. So, here we are. Oh, we're at the wrong one. This is not Dragon Bridge. Zoom me in. Solitude Docks. Dragon Bridge. Thank you. So here we are at Dragon Bridge. Where is the Bridge of Dragons? Here it is. So off the bat, I'll tell you, the scales are about 30 to 40% bigger than what they are in the Skyrim game, except Dragon Bridge is actually around the same size. Something I love, and what is gone, is the road meshes, and they've just painted in the road like what they did in Oblivion, and I love this style. I love this so much more than the road meshes. Personally, I love this. I love that look. Now, I can't change it to daytime, so I apologize for that. But let us continue. And of course, this is like, you know, probably 2,000 years before the events of Skyrim happen. So things will be slightly different. But this is Dragon's Bridge. A lot less buildings, as you can see. Let us continue on to Solitude here. And there's a few cool things. Like, I love these lampposts. These are just so much cooler. They have the wolf head, because you're in Solitude. These things just look badass. My personal opinion.
Please, can anybody help us?
No, nobody can help you. Hey, Grit. Hey. Oops, you fell. You fell. Come here. Boop. Love you. I really do like the stylized look of the mountains. How like the edges are white, you know, and I don't know, it just has a very stylized look to it. It's not going for realism, it's going for a fantasy kind of look, and I appreciate it. They did it well. I don't like when people try to take texturing too seriously and they try to make it look uber freaking realistic when it shouldn't be, you know? In games like this, I like it when they're kind of tilting towards the fantasy side. Players for Skyrim don't like it. They want it to look as realistic as possible. But I really like the way that this looks. Here's the old watchtower. It's a bit shorter, isn't it? What's really a cool idea is how they've put these locks across doors that you can't get into. There's nothing inside there, right? So they just kind of put this cool lock on it. Instead of it just being a door that says locked or something. Some traders. Cool little area here. Sadly, a lot of this would be super hard to implement into the Skyrim game because there's already so many things around there for like the war, the Civil War, and all of these other things that are happening in the Skyrim game that you would end up breaking something. So let's check out Solitude. So Solitude is almost a direct one-to-one rip from the Skyrim game. It's just the meshes are bigger. The door is a different door. That's pretty cool. They have those traps up there. Now, I'll go to first person. So what we know what this stage is for. But in this day and age, they just have a bunch of clutter up here. Nothing too much happening. A lot of the stores are the same in the same places. Like, look how high this is. In the Skyrim game, it's much lower. It's much more cramped feeling. This feels a lot looser. Yeah, the Rift is awesome. Oh yeah, I'll get the pictures. I think some of the back alleyways are still here. That's walled off. But I mean, that's literally, quite literally, very much what the game is. Like, there's no difference. In fact, it's so close to how it is in the Skyrim game that a lot of players complain. Now, this is cool with these overhangs. They don't have this market looking like this in the game. That's cool. We can continue. Ha! Is there that chapel place?
Card sharps and collectors, test your wits and courage in a brand new card game, Tales of Tribute.
I think the graveyard is down here somewhere too. Let's see. Here it is. Yeah, so here's the graveyard. Right here, and then down here, instead of the catacombs, it probably is the catacombs, but it's the outlaws' refuge. It's where you, it's like where you sell stolen goods. Somebody's going around assassinating everyone. Up there's the training area we'll get to in a second. A lot of this is just so much nicer than what's in the game. I don't know. Over here is the Bard's College. Yeah, it's very much a direct rip from the game. It's just they scaled everything up. And then down here, this is cool. We got cool gardens over here. And then up here is a building. It's a shop. Mages Guild. And now the Blue Palace. All right, Daniel, you take care, bubba. So these arches much higher up. Much higher. Looks awesome. Looks better than the game. Better than Skyrim, in my opinion. The texture's not great, but whatever. Right? They're good enough. Blue Palace, much better lit than what it is in the game. Kitchen is gone and is now a sitting room. Ooh, bookshelf. Always read the bookshelves. Cool paintings. More bookshelf? Oh, it's a cupboard. We'll check out the throne room. And here's our throne room. Very cool. Blue Palace. And then the training area is much different. Yeah, in one way I like it. Oh, that's cool. This walkway up here. That's very cool. Let us continue. So we'll go up to where they train in Skyrim. It's a training ground anyway. But look, I mean, even back there, you can see the balconies and the rooftops. It just looks better. Looks much more majestic and everything. That big keep right there. It's awesome. So here is our training ground. As you know, in Skyrim, there's a wagon here with like some oil and stuff around it. And then back through here is the temple courtyard where Homegirl gets married. I can't get in there because I don't have the mission for it. Okay. Here is a well or something, I think in Skyrim. Can't get in there. Can't get into that keep because it's locked. But here we have guild traders. I am not a part of a guild. So let's check out what's up the stairs. We also have just a bard hanging out. People sitting around. Officers' quarters. And here is nothing. Skyrim guard. Yeah, pretty cool. It doesn't feel like these upper walkways up there are wasted like they are in the Skyrim game. And then here is like this I think was the archery place, and over there's the blacksmith, which is still a blacksmith. And then this is Radiant Raiment over here. So all in all, very cool. Now let's check out this way shrine. And now we can go, there's East March and then there's the Rift. So here in the Rift you have Riften. Obviously. Hey Chardero. Now Riften is in no way like the Riften in Skyrim. In fact, let us go to the gates. Wherever the gates are. Right? So I guess this would be kind of an entrance. It is an entrance. They also don't try to extort you, but check out the Riften walls. I mean, look at this. How cool is this? That's awesome. All right. So this is now Riften. And down there's the waterways. Riften seems a little tore up. Many more NPCs. Let me get a map here. Very good. There's the lake. Boom. So it's completely different, but it's also, just like really pretty, I think. Where is the main keep? This is what I'm looking for here. That's the Mage's Guild. I was hoping to find the main keep. This is the marketplace, anyway, that, you're supposed to go and pickpocket somebody, and it is completely different. Also, I think in a good way. And this, I suppose, would be the main keep looking area over here. But who knows? But that's Riften. And I do think that it's just, to me, it's just a lot nicer than what Skyrim has. Skyrim's very small and tight and packed in, and this is just very much more open, and I don't know. It just feels a lot better. Just feels a lot better. And then out into the Rift. I love this windmill house, and I wish that this was a player home in the Skyrim game. And I have half a mind to like just make a model of it. But I just love this windmill house. I want it as a player home. Oh, it's got a garden. Well, it's a windmill. Oh, there's a house up top. It's a windmill on the bottom. It's a mill on the bottom with a house up top. And an awesome wraparound porch. But yeah, it's sweet. And these houses are just so freaking cool looking. I don't know. That to me, it just seems much more Elder Scrolls and Skyrim than what we currently have in the Skyrim game. If you're tired of Skyrim, or you want more lore, or you want more stories, or you just want more content, play ESO. You don't have to play with other people. Unless you really just want to do the hard things. Look, there's saber cats. Yay. Here they come. We're gonna have to kill them. Okay. So let us continue. The bridge. All of the bridges in this game just look awesome. All of the bridges look awesome in this game. Oh, that's a bear. You done? Thanks. Yeah, the bridges look so sweet. We'll try to avoid these bears. I will say that the sneaking in this game is pretty easy. The radius is super small for them to pick you up, which is cool. So let us go. And now we can check out East March here. And we will go to I'll go here. Yes, you can do solo Elder Scrolls Online, and it's perfectly viable and doable, unless you're just in it for, like, you want to play really hard dungeons or something that are designed for 4 players. But it's easy to team up with just people you don't know. Just send out a big call, like, saying, I want to do this, and people will be like, okay. So let's head over the other way, John. The other way. Take a left at the crossroads. And we're going to head over to Windhelm. Cross bridge. So these lampposts are different. They have dragons on them. Again, very cool lampposts. Very fantasy style. Like Diablo, you know? And I love it. The houses also look a little different. The bridges it's different architecture. Each area has different architecture, which is awesome. But I think you're really going to like Windhelm. It, to me, is 10 times better than what's in the game. And there's a shit ton of lore, a lot of things to read. The walls of Windhelm look really cool. So much better. The bridge, much like the one that was in Rift. I love these roads. I don't know why, but I love the roads. Let us continue. So these are the stables now. And here's that big platform. I guess you walk it up this way in the game, right? So back behind there would be where the Khajiit hang out and stuff, and on down that way are the farms. But you're walking up, and this is Windhelm Bridge. There's the stables. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are going to be cool. So Windhelm Bridge. Look at the wood detail. How cool is that texture? I like this bridge. The bridge in Skyrim is horrible. Like, I don't even understand why there's a basement in it or something. The cool overhangs or arches, I mean the roof and everything there. All right. So no racist people pestering anyone. Off the top, we have the inn right here. This away gets you to the marketplace, and this is the wall of the 500 right here. But there is no wall of 500 because it hasn't happened yet. And then over here would be our marketplace. One of the many. But there's no market. Just stocks.
Comrade, a word.
Cool stocks. And tall Nordic women. Hello. Over here would be the graveyard down there. Yep. And then that's a dungeon for the catacombs. Up there's more graveyard, like the same Skyrim game has too. And now we're into the rich section of town. But here we have an inn and a pub and a shop. Over here is the bank. People chilling outside. Outdoor beer garden.
No one can outrank Thane Yegi. He's got this contest in the bag.
Then down here is your main keep. The back of the inn at the front gate.
I don't believe this.
Fresh from the
I'm not
warm
believing
And then over here is the Grey District, or the Poor People District. Here's your outdoor stores, merchants for clothes, blacksmiths, stuff like that. Check out the Poor People District, which doesn't look that poor, but it is so much nicer than what's in Skyrim. Magic shop. What is this? The house, the Snowborn house. Beyond that door would be the docks. That door, I'm not sure. Don't know. What is that? Trees Bounty. I like how you can look at a sign and it pops up to say what it is. The docks. Stables. Yes. Another cool thing about all of this is that you can ride your horse inside the town. which I love. So this is the gray district. You can tell it's the poor side of town because all of the clothes are hanging out to dry. But very cool. Like I said, if you're fiending for some more, if you're fiending for some more Skyrim, and you want more Elder Scrolls in your life, and you're bored with Skyrim and you're tired of modding and you just need something new and you need an excuse to break the habit, then I would suggest checking this game out. I play it a lot more now, and it's kind of gotten into my modding time. Like, I'm not modding, I'm not making mods. I should be working on Dragonborn, and I'm just not, because I keep playing ESO. And I love it. I want to see if I can go into here. Yes. Okay, we can get into the Palace of the Kings. We'll see how this looks compared to the game. Love you, Grit. Alright, so we know this room quite well. That looks like a Skyland texture that they just dumbed down. But we know this room. It's pretty much the same. I think this is the barracks. Palace of the Kings. Doesn't tell me exactly which. We got rat problem. This is our king now. Yoren the Skuld King. Yes, you should definitely read those. The only thing is that you can't go upstairs. Right? Like you can in Skyrim. At least I don't think. I wanted to see if I could go upstairs. The doors are so cool looking. All of the doors are cool looking, but these doors really look cool. Here's the barracks. But yeah, really, really fun game. A lot of places to explore. And just a kind of something to remember. Right? Like, we've only seen a city here, and Solitude up here. But it has everything. You want Somerset, Shimmer Mist. You want the Alakir Desert. Do you want to hang out with, you know, the Khajiit down here in Mistral, Vardenfell? I mean, you have everything. For the most part, there's still more content coming. Cyrodiil, it's all in here. Blackwood. Yeah. And you can just explore all of them. And all of these areas, like this, like Ebonheart here, they all have about 20, 30 hours of just solo play content in them. Every single one of these highlighted points all have about 10, 20, 30 hours of content each. It's crazy how much content is in here. I mean, pay $60 for all of this, or $5 for the base game, and you've got a shit ton of stuff happening. So, if you're ever interested, let me know. We can play. We can all just play together, hang out. Pretty cool. I like it. I don't know why I'm so addicted to it, but I am. I just get, like I said, I ended up just not even like modding. I just turn that on, and then I just get sucked in for 5 or 6 hours playing. So anyway, that's that. It is now 11, so I'm gonna get something to eat, and I'm probably gonna jump on some ESO. I'm not gonna lie with you. That's probably what I'm gonna do. But I hope I answered some questions on how to make textures from images and how I make normal maps, and I hope that was all informative and it will be useful for people's future endeavorments. And I hope you enjoyed checking out ESO while we were at it. If anybody wants to hang out and play, hit me up, let me know. We can jam out together. And yeah, so that'll be that. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. It's been emotional. We'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Bye.